So students, in last class we have discussed regarding the correlation part. Now let us try to understand regarding regression before going to the sums on correlation and regression. Now my dear friends, what do you mean by regression? Regression is nothing but we are trying to establish an average mathematical relation. No, I am not saying mathematical relation, I am saying average mathematical relation, or we are trying to establish an algebraic relation between two or more variables. Now try to understand my dear friends, what is a regression? Regression is nothing but we are trying to develop an average mathematical relation or we are trying to form an algebraic relation between two or more variables. In this case, we are trying to predict one variable using another variable. We are trying to predict one variable using another variable in the concept of regression. That is, we are trying to become an astrologer in the concept of regression, where we are trying to make that astrology in terms of statistics. Okay, nothing other than that, my dear friends. Say for example, I am having variable x and y somewhat like this. Variable x is given, variable y is given. Variable x is given as 2, 3, 4, 5. Variable y is given as 5, 7, 9, 11. Now my dear friends, I am not asking what is the relation between them. I am asking what is the algebraic relation between them. Now can I write, my dear friends, y is equal to 2x plus 1. Now what is 2x plus 1, my dear friends? Can I say 2 into 2, 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 into 3, 6, plus 1 is 7. 2 into 4, 8, plus 1 is 9. 2 into 5, 10, plus 1 is 11. That's nothing but I am trying to develop a relation between these two variables x and y. Now question may come in your mind, sir, from where the equation might came? It came from the air, my dear friends. Don't you believe? Yes, it came from the air. But normally in our regular life scenario, when you are doing regression analysis, you cannot bring the equations from the air, right? So that's the reason these equations, how we are supposed to compute, how to compute these type of equations. This logic is given by a concept called as regression. Okay, so I hope it is clear, my dear friends, what is regression. Regression is nothing but you are trying to establish an algebraic relation between two or more variables. We call it as regression. Now how to compute it? How to compute these equation? In order to compute this equation, my dear friends, we have two different methods. Now what are those two different methods what we have in order to compute these equations? Those two different methods are method of least square, and the next method what we have is mean deviation method. What method? Mean deviation method. Among these two methods, the mean deviation method is supposed to be an important method. However, method of least square is as well important. Now before starting these two methods, my dear friends, I want you to know there are total two types of regression lines. That is, I want you to understand the types of regression lines. After knowing the types of regression lines, let us analyze these two concepts. Now, what are the two types of regression lines what we have? The two types of regression lines are somewhat like this, my dear friends. Those two types of regression lines are x on y and y on x. Now what is x on y? What is y on x? X on y means, my dear friends, x on y means x is depended on y. X is depended on y, and the equation will be x is equal to a plus by. Here x is called as dependent variable and y is called as independent variable, and y is called as independent variable. Now what is this y on x? Y on x is nothing but y is dependent on x. What do you mean by y on x? Y on x is y is dependent on x. Here y will be equal to a plus bx. Since y is dependent on x, so can I say y is dependent variable and x is supposed to be independent variable, and x is supposed to be independent variable. So I hope the basic point is clear, my dear friends. What is x on y and y on x? Now how you are supposed to use this x on y and y on x? Simple, my dear friends. I am giving you the variables x, I am giving you the variables y. Tell me, are we supposed to develop x on y or are we supposed to develop y on x? X is given as sales, y is given as advertisement. Now tell me, is it x on y or is it y on x? Sales is dependent on advertisement or advertisement is dependent on sales. Simple. The more advertisement you do, the more sale will happen. The less advertisement you do, the less sale will happen. Okay. Next, dividend or profit and dividend. Now tell me, my dear friends, is profit dependent on dividend or dividend dependent on profit? I guess dividend is dependent on profit, right? So it is supposed to be y on x. Next, speed and acceleration. Now tell me what you are supposed to compute, x on y or y on x? We are supposed to compute x on y. Okay. So I hope it is clear, my dear friends, what is this x on y and what is this y on x, right? So basically what we are trying to, what I am trying to tell you is that there are two types of regression lines, x on y and y on x. X on y equation is supposed to be x is equals to a plus by, y on x equation is supposed to be y is equal to a plus bx. So I hope the basic point is clear. Now how we are supposed to use this regression lines? We have total two ways to compute the regression lines. Method of least square method and mean deviation method. Now first let us try to understand method of least square. Method of least square. Now what is this method of least square? In method of least square, we are supposed to compute two equations, x on y and y on x. X on y and y on x. Now how to get x on y and y on x? My dear friends, what is our basic equation for x on y? Can I say the basic equation for x on y is x is equal to a plus by. What is the basic equation for y on x? Y is equal to a plus bx. Now if you want to solve the equation x is equal to a plus by, sorry, if you want to get the equation x is equal to a plus by, what we are supposed to do? If you want to get this equation x is equal to a plus by, or if you want to get the equation y is equal to a plus bx, two further equations must be solved. Now what are those two further equations? If you want to get x is equal to a plus by, my dear friends, we have to develop two equations. Summation of x is equal to a into n plus b into summation of y. Next, summation of xy is equal to a into summation of y plus b into summation of y square. You are supposed to solve these two equations in order to get a and b. If you solve these two equations, you are supposed to get a comma b. This a comma b will be substituted here in order to get x is equal to a plus by. Now if you want to get y is equal to a plus bx, two further equations must be solved. Summation of y is equal to a into n plus b into summation of x. summation of xy is equal to a into summation of x plus b into summation of x square. My dear friend, we are supposed to solve these two equations. If you solve these two equations, you are supposed to get a comma b. This a comma b we are supposed to substitute here, and we get the equation y is equal to a plus bx. Okay, so I hope the basic point is clear, my dear friends. Let us do one small basic sum on this so that you can have more clarity regarding this concept. Now, say for example, my dear friends, I have been given variables x and I have been given variable y. Variable x is given and variable y is given. Variable x is given as 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 9 and 11. Next, variable y is given as 11, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0 and minus 1. Okay, these are the variables x, these are the variables y, what has been given to us. He is asking, he is saying for y is equal to 25, find x. He is saying the value of y is 25 and he is asking you to calculate the value of x. So I hope the basic point is clear. So what is given, my dear friend? Y is given and x is asked to calculate. Y is given and x is asked to calculate. Y is given and x is asked to calculate. Means what is given? Y is given. What is missing? X is missing. You are trying to calculate x with the help of y. You are trying to calculate x with the help of y. Means can I say somewhat like this? X is dependent on y and I am supposed to get the equations x is equal to a plus by. Now if I want to get x is equal to a plus by, I am supposed to develop two further equations, right? Now let us develop those two equations. You require value of summation of x, you require value of summation of y. What is value of summation of x, my dear friends? 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 6 plus 8 plus 9 plus 11, which is supposed to be 42. Now summation of y, it is supposed to be 21. Okay, now we are supposed to even compute summation of xy. 11 into 1 11, 5 into 2 10, 5 into 3 15, 6 into 2 12, 8 into 1 8, 0 minus 11. So what is the value, my dear friends? So it is supposed to be 45. Next we are supposed to compute y square. 11 square 121, 5 square 25, 3 square 9, 2 square 4, 1 0 1. So value is supposed to be 161. Now let us develop these two equations, my dear friends. First equation, summation of x. 42 is equal to a into n. Total how many observations we have? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 observations we have. So 7a plus b into summation of y plus 21b. This is supposed to be equation 1. Now next, summation of xy 45 is equal to a into summation of y 21a plus b into summation of y square, that is 161b. This is supposed to be equation 2. Now I am supposed to solve these two equations. How I will solve, my dear friends? I will do equation 1 into 3 minus equation 2. What is 42 into 3, my dear friends? It is supposed to be 126 is equal to 21a plus 63b. So 45 is equal to 21a plus 161b. Now let me cancel the values, minus minus minus. Can I say these both are supposed to cancel? Now what is 126 minus 45? 126 minus 45, it is supposed to be 81. Next, 63 minus 161, it is supposed to be 98b. So b is equal to 81 divided by 98, which is supposed to be 0.82653. Let me take till 4 decimals, my dear friends. So 0.8265. Now what shall we do? Let us take this value and substitute. Let us substitute b in which equation, my dear friend? Let us substitute b in equation 1. So can I say it is supposed to be 42 is equal to 7a plus 21b, or can I say a is equal to 42 minus 21b divided by 7, which is equal to 42 minus 21 into 0.8265 whole divided by 7. That is nothing but 21 into 0.8265, that is nothing but 3.5205. Okay, so value of I guess value of b is supposed to be minus, right, my dear friends? So here value of b is supposed to be minus, because 98 is minus divided by 81, we are supposed to get minus. Now if you substitute there, we are supposed to get minus into minus plus, so this is not going to be the value. 21 into 0.8625 plus 42 whole divided by 7. So it is supposed to be 8.5875, my dear friends. So since he is saying x is dependent on y, we get the equation x is equal to a plus by, that is 8.5875 minus 0.8265 into y. Now my dear friends, what is supposed to be value of y? Value of y is supposed to be 25. So 0.8265 into 25, so value is supposed to be minus 12.075. Okay, so I hope the basic point is clear, my dear friends, how we are supposed to compute the regression equations, right? So friends, we got the value of x as minus 12.075. So I hope the basic point is clear, right? So what we are supposed to do here for us, y was given, using this y value as 25, we tried to estimate the value of x, which was supposed to be minus 12.075. Is it clear, my dear friends? So this is what we are supposed to do in the method of least square. Okay, now if you see at the end we have summation of y square and summation of x square. That's the reason we call it as method of least square. Okay, now my dear friends, if you formulate these two equations, x on y and y on x, and if you solve these two equations, you will find out that these two equations will intersect at their respective arithmetic means. That is nothing but, this is supposed to be, let us assume this is supposed to be x on y and this is supposed to be y on x. This point where they are intersecting, we call it as arithmetic mean. Okay, so I hope the basic point is clear, my dear friends. Now if you want, you can even prove this property in this example what we have done just now. We have the value of x and we have the value of y, right? Now let us do one thing, my dear friends. What is the equation? What did we get? we got the equation as x is equal to 8.5875 minus 0.8265 y. Now instead of y, let us substitute the arithmetic mean of y. 21 divided by 7, which is supposed to be 3. Instead of y, let me substitute 3 and see what will be the resultant. 3 into 0.8265 minus 8.5875. So which is supposed to be 6.108. So if you do 42 divided by 7, you get it as exact 6, my dear friends. But we are getting it as 6.108 just because of the rounding of the decimal what we have done. However, if you take the exact values of entire decimals, you are going to get the same answer, 6. So remember one thing, my dear friends, if two equations are given x and y, these two equations x and y are supposed to intersect at one point, and that one point is supposed to be the arithmetic mean of x and y. Okay. Now this regression line, it is also called as line of best fit, my dear friends. Why it is called as line of best fit? Because in this what we are doing is that we are drawing a graph, right? And if you see, there are many points in the graph. If you plot x and y points, you will get many points in a graph. Now passing through all these points, you will draw a line. Now you cannot draw a line which passes exactly through all the points, but what you will do, you will draw a line in such a way that it will pass through all the points. That's the reason it is called as line of best fit. Now the difference between these points and lines, if the difference is above points, in these cases the difference or the error is called as positive error. The difference between these points and the line is called as negative error. So error of a regression line and points can be either positive, can be either negative, or sometimes they might exactly fall on the line. In that case it can be 0. So errors in regression can be either positive, negative, or 0. So I hope the basic point is clear, my dear friends, regarding this regression lines. So we have done with the first method called as method of least square. Now let us go to the next method, that is mean deviation method or concurrent deviations method. So next method is supposed to be a mean deviation method, and believe me, my dear friends, this method is the most important method, mean deviation method. As you know, my dear friends, how many regression lines we have in total? We have total 2 regression lines, right, which we are supposed to calculate. Even in regression lines as well, even in mean deviation method as well, we are supposed to compute those 2 regression lines. Now what are those 2 regression lines? Those 2 regression lines are, first regression line is y on x and second regression line is x on y. Y on x will be y minus y bar is equal to byx into x minus x bar. X on y will be x minus x bar is equal to bxy into y minus y bar. I guess you already know, my dear friends, x bar and y bar are nothing but they are respective arithmetic means. I respect them. So their respective arithmetic means. Bxy and byx are nothing but regression coefficients, or we even call them as slopes. Okay. So I hope the basic point is clear, my dear friends. We already know how to compute the arithmetic mean. How we are supposed to compute the arithmetic mean, my dear friends? Simple, sum of numbers divided by number of numbers, right? There's no special thing in that. But here we are most important in the entire part of mean deviation is that we are supposed to compute byx and bxy. Now how you are supposed, or how one person is supposed to compute this byx or bxy. Now let us try to analyze that, my dear friends. Now first let us see the computation part of byx. Byx will be equal to, first formula, r into standard deviation of y by standard deviation of x. But before this, let me tell you one logic, my dear friends. Byx, y on x, y is dependent on x, y is dependent on x, y is dependent variable, x is independent variable. Always remember, my dear friends, in statistics or any subject, independent variable will come in the denominator, dependent variable will come in the numerator. Ever since the beginning of the world, that is the main scenario. That's a property. Independent variable denominator, dependent variable numerator. The r into standard deviation of y by standard deviation of x, or covariance of xy divided by standard deviation of x square, or summation of x minus x bar into y minus y bar divided by n into standard deviation of x square, or n into summation of xy minus summation of x into summation of y divided by n into summation of x square minus summation of x whole square. So these are the four formulas for byx. In the same way, my dear friends, we have four formulas for bxy as well. Those four formulas are somewhat like this. Just reverse the x and y, you are going to get the bxy answers. R into standard deviation of x by standard deviation of y, or covariance of xy divided by standard deviation of y square, or summation of x minus x bar into y minus y bar whole divided by n into standard deviation of y square, or n into summation of xy minus summation of x into summation of y divided by whole divided by n into summation of y square minus summation of y whole square. So I hope the basic point is clear, my dear friends. These are the set of formulas. Other than these set of formulas, you have deviation formulas. The deviation formulas are not that important for the examination perspective, my dear friends. You can just leave it for the chance. Okay, but make sure that you focus on these formulas what I have given for you. You can just take a screenshot of that, or you can just note it down. Okay, so my dear friends, moving ahead now. So these bxy and byx are nothing but regression coefficients. Now let us take one sum and let us compute let us see how to compute this bxy and byx. Now my dear friends, example, I am being given with the variables x and being given with the variables y. Variable x is given as 28, 23, 43, 33, 28. Variable y is given as 28, 23, this is 38, my dear friends, 38, 23, 43, 33 and 28. This is 28, 23, 43, 38 and 8. So in this cases is asking us to compute bxy and byx. Now first let us compute byx. If you want to compute byx, you want n. Okay, we have n is equal to 5. We want summation of xy. Chalo, let us compute xy, my dear friends. Now 38 into 28, 1064, 23 into 23, 529, 43 into 43, 1849, 33 into 38, 1254, 28 into 8, 224, and at last we have 4920. Okay. Now how much is going to be summation x and summation y, my dear friends? So 38 plus 23 plus 43 plus 33 plus 28, 165 by 28 plus 23 plus 43 plus 38 plus 8, 140. Okay, so these are the values of x and these are the summation of x, summation of y. Now let us compute summation of x square, my dear friends. That is 38 1444, 23 into 23 529, 1849, 33 into 33 1089, 28 into 28 784. Now let us add all this. So total values, my dear friends, it comes out to 5695. Now since we are asked to compute byx. Byx is supposed to be n into same formula, n into summation of xy minus summation of x into summation of y divided by n into summation of x square minus summation of x whole square. That is nothing but 5 into summation of xy 4920 minus summation of x into summation of y 165 into 140 whole divided by 5 into summation of x square 5695 minus summation of x whole square 165 whole square. So first let me compute numerator, my dear friends. 5 into 4920 m plus 1. Numerator is supposed to be 1500. Denominator 1250. So 1500 divided by 1250, the resultant is supposed to be 1.2. Okay. So this is how, my dear friends, we are supposed to compute byx. Now in the same way, let us even compute bxy as well, and let us see what is going to be the resultant. Now y square, my dear friends, 28 square 784, 23 square 529, 43 square 1849, 38 square 1444, 8 square 64. Now let us add all this. 784 plus 529 plus 1849 plus 1344 64, which is supposed to be 4670. Now my dear friends, let us calculate bxy. What is bxy, my dear friends? N into summation of xy minus summation of x into summation of y divided by n into summation of y square minus summation of y whole square. Look here, my dear friends, what value is there in the numerator? The same value is there in the numerator here as well. So can I say in both the cases value is supposed to remain the same? Yes. That is equal to 1500 whole divided by n into summation of y square 5 into 4670 minus summation of y whole square 140 whole square. So which is supposed to be 1500 divided by 3750, which is supposed to be 0.4, my dear friends. Okay, so I hope the basic point is clear how we are supposed to do regression coefficients, or how we are supposed to calculate regression coefficients, right?